What is up, guys? Retail sales month over month came in actual 0.4 here to the upside. The consensus was 0.8, so it missed. The consensus and the forecast, it missed both of those. And then, but it's coming in higher than previous. So there's been an increase since the previous month, but it came in lower than what was forecasted. So the bulls and the bears get a nice talking point. Probably won't move markets too much.
So my bearish case right now, and I've been looking at this for a bit, is that we have this beautiful CME gap down at 21,175, and it is a golden pocket, which lines up perfect here. So yes, we do have this intense support at 25.2. So if we do continue downwards, I look for us to come down and fill this gap eventually, but that's not in the near future. I also have a bullish outlook that does look at us going up to. I saw Tim the other week saying we could go up to 50,000 at this golden pocket. So I like to build confidence alongside with great people who are doing TA as well. So there is a bullish and a bearish case in the long term. But as we jump down into the daily and the short term time frames, you can see that we've had a push up here back into this dreaded head and shoulders pattern that we were looking at here that was going to bring us down, but we have been rejected. But one thing I like to note is that even though we got rejected, we could flip this to resistance and be rejected and continue our way downwards. So I am watching that closely right now. Just as I'm not much of a pattern trader, but I do like to watch these things because everybody on Twitter is screaming head and shoulders pattern, and it can bring us all the way down to this 24 mark. When I jump down in the time frames, I can see that this momentum wave has brought us back up, and we are being rejected here in a nice downtrend. Now, for me, I am in Australia, so I am in the future, so I have a little bit of an edge. And I did notice this 2-hour beautiful bear div that did work out, and we did get rejected here. So I was watching that, and I did try to notify people that we were going to go down. We like to write "we" when we get rejected here, so that's just kind of how we roll. So we keep our eyes on the charts right now. So what I can see when looking at this is that we have the point of control in the volume here. We came up to this key level here that if you look across to the left, you can see that multiple touches throughout. We have had touches ever since we had this big drop here. We've had multiple touches throughout this area where we came up just now and got rejected from. So this is telling me the bears are still pretty angry and upset that we've had this beautiful pump all the way up into this key level, right? So I'm looking for some sort of swing failure pattern in the short term, but I am looking for this to come back and retest this key level because I know that there's liquidity down here. I know that they're going to come back up and they're going to try an either swing failure pattern, or we're going to get rejected there and we're going to continue our way downwards. So I am watching those in the shorter term time frames for entries because we got to look for those entries in order to ride those longer trades out. So that's what I'm looking for in the short term. Now, with Bitcoin, when we look at the futures, we have these CME gaps that we want to be filled, right? We do have one at 29.3, 26.785 is the closest. And a lot of people say that 90% of these get filled, right? We did show you the long-term plan for this short term, or for this 21,000 area if we come back and get rejected all the way back down past 25. Now, when I jump into the Dixie, my confluence here is that we have this 100 level to me that's very significant. When we go out on the weekly, we can see prior to this huge pump up, we can see that we were in this zone for so long and we've come back down and we've double bottomed. Now, I was watching this in order to build confluence because it has an inverse correlation with Bitcoin. Now, we were looking for it to pop back up here and come up to this 102 area, which it did quite beautifully. And now we're looking for some sort of retrace down here and to continue upwards if the bears are going to stay in control. So when the market opens, we'll look for a reaction at the price here and try to see which way the Dixie will send us. When I jump over to the S&P here to build confluence as well, I see that there's this trend line here that was broken and we have consolidated sideways and we have started making higher lows. Now, for me, we have to get above this 4,200 area in order for the bulls to take control. We failed to get above this and we seem to be heading downwards. So I am watching this quite closely in the next coming days just to see how it reacts this week because we haven't been able to get above here and put in a higher high. So that's something also I'm watching. So overall, I'm watching these prices. Make sure to add these to your charts. Look for a reaction at these levels. Make sure to add these to your charts and be ready to look for bearish divergences or exhaustion or volume to expire.
I think Alex did a great job right there. One spot I'm looking at to say, hey, we got to get above this level if we want to see the rally continue. First thing that I noticed this morning going through some TA, we're in a falling channel at the moment. Going back here to the support level we had on the 4-hour chart back on April 9th. This is a cloned line. So I created this support level, cloned it, came up here. There's some very nice touches. Something you guys need to know about this, you want to look for opposite touches. So we got some nice things going on here. If this is the first wave, 1, 2, I'm going to go ahead and call all the way over here. Even though we have some touches right here, I'm going to go ahead and call the touch here. 4, 3, 4. So what I'm looking for is a move to the upside, and a fifth wave is sometimes you're going to see that fifth wave be the breakout. And sometimes you see one more rejection and then maybe a little bit of a downward movement before moving up, or even potentially another retest, a sixth move to the support level. But you do want to see 5 waves. So I am looking for that upward movement to happen, hopefully somewhat soon. So we got the point of control. We got our dynamic reactor. Notice right here on the oscillator, here on the 4-hour chart, we just had a reversal come in. The good news is you move down to the hourly chart, despite the fact that we just got reversed on the 4-hour. The 1 hour is showing us some oversold. It's bouncing back up right there on that dynamic reactor. We also, if you go out to the 3-day chart, I do believe it's the 3-day chart. Yeah, you can see that the bounce we made here the other day was a bounce off of the 3-day dynamic reactor. Of course, though, what we're looking for is a clean breakthrough of the weekly, which we are not able to cleanly do here just a couple of weeks ago. So for me, I've kind of gotten a little bit skeptical, guys, of a $50,000 Bitcoin price prediction. You guys know he referenced that here a second ago. I talked about us moving up to the golden pocket. Most of you guys know that this theory, though, of getting up to the golden pocket of 50,000 had a lot to do with mimicking what we did back in 2019, and we kind of have fallen off. Do not be surprised if we can't conquer that 28,000, that 28.1, even what 0.236 is saying. I'm not going to be surprised if we come down here and touch this blue line at 25.2 before breaking out down the road.
We can notice that we've come down to this 35-cent area, which is very key with the golden pocket here as well. In order for us to continue upwards, we did have that beautiful pump, which was quite significant. And when I look at ADA, we're like, wow, we're getting above this 42-cent area. And with this 42-cent area, to me, it was very significant if it held, right? In my community, we talk about this hibernation zone that we don't want to get into. And when I'm talking about a hibernation zone, there's one for almost every coin. And it comes in down at these areas here where we had the FTX collapse and price really failed, especially on the alts, to get above this area. Now, we want to see ADA hold these levels. Now, for me right now, I'm watching for this to hold, right? I can see that we're in this giant cluster here that was traded for so long. And everybody was calling ADA stablecoin about a month ago when we were heading around here, and we weren't doing a hell of a lot. But right now, you can see that we've made significant sideways action and heading downwards, but this has held, which screams to me that we could be looking for a relief bounce in the short term and continue upwards and come back and challenge these highs. So if Bitcoin holds this level and doesn't fall down, I think ADA can do its own thing and work its way back up as well. So I'll be watching these levels. Also, I'll be watching a reaction at this point of control, which is right around 38 cents. But I look for this 35 cents to hold in the upcoming weeks for sure.
Argentina is raising its interest rates to 87% as it struggles to tackle inflation. Guys, this is insane. That's the highest level since the early 1990s, and currently Venezuela and Zimbabwe are the only 2 countries experiencing higher inflation than Argentina. So Argentina, as you'll know, is one of the bigger names that has adopted crypto, and specifically Bitcoin. There's been a leaked memo that reveals U.S. Democrats' organized anti-crypto stance. This was leaked by Fox News business reporter Eleanor Tourette on Twitter. And here's the kind of the smoking gun of a quote that was found in some documents. The problem isn't ambiguity, reads one part, it's mass non-compliance with existing law. And crypto companies can't be let off the hook. The U.S. has a regulatory system that has worked well and sustained massive innovation in the financial system for decades. We can't invent new accommodating regulatory structures simply because crypto companies refuse to follow clear rules of the road. So that this article then goes on to kind of talk about a little bit of mudslinging about how some politicians are positioning. Obviously, Elizabeth Warren is kind of the chief among those who are kind of leading the Democrats against crypto. So that's not a huge surprise, but these documents are a big revelation. We'll see how the news digests that today, just how big a revelation that is. My guess is that it might be a little more muted than that headline may suggest. This is the SEC responds to Coinbase request for action. No. So you could kind of almost get away with just reading the title on this one, and I think that's probably what we'll do. But Gary Gensler ultimately is just kind of flexing the power of the SEC, saying, hey, we don't care about you, Coinbase. Bitcoin whole coiners reached all-time high above 1 million amid bear market. So that's encouraging to see. And then we've got a slew of tweets here, guys, that kind of help us look at the market as well. This from Whale Chart says, just in, Morgan Creek CEO Mark Yusko predicts crypto bull market set to start in June. So that's when Mark Yusko is thinking the bull market's going to kick off June. This is another big one here. Chinese yuan reaches record usage in global central bank swap lines in Q1 of 2023. An interesting development there on the de-dollarization narrative. And this is a big one here, guys, domestically. McCarthy, who's a Republican leader, I don't know if he's the majority leader, probably. McCarthy says no progress in debt talks since last night. So he met with Biden, and this is his takeaway. Wow, you made it to the end of the video. Great job. Now, if you want more content like this, whether it be TA on Bitcoin and Ethereum or altcoins, or you just want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest news in crypto, then stay tuned and tune in to our 9 a.m. live show every single weekday morning. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when you tune in live, use the keyword grip strength in the chat, and you'll get a special shout out from anyone who's paying attention to the chat. Love to see you there.